Welcome back, everyone. It is time for lesson 4. So we are going to continue reading our story using money. So let's go ahead and look at our learning intentions for today. Today, we are learning to draw conclusions based on reasons and evidence. So that way we can make points, so we can explain the points that the author makes. We know we are successful when we can use text evidence, identify those important details in the text, and of course, then draw conclusions. And if you're going, wait, Miss Wagers, what is a conclusion? Well, friends, I will tell you, but you got to wait. Okay? Patience. For foundational skills, you are practicing the Latin roots dur and ject. So dur means hard, strong, or lasting. So for example, in our text, we can see the word durable. Okay, that means that it's something that is going to last a long time, or endured, something that you have to go through for a while. Or ject is to throw. So object could be, maybe you could throw an object, right? Throw this pencil, it's an object. Okay, or project, okay, or rejected. And so again, put together that base word with some of the meanings of those prefixes, and that can help us determine the meaning of these words. So you are reading the time capsule. So again, make sure that you're practicing reading that smoothly and focusing on the words with the Latin roots dur and ject. For vocabulary today, we have our first word, which is misuse. And I see the prefix mis on this word. The prefix mis, do you remember what that means? It means not. So if it's a misuse, it's to use something for the wrong purpose, for the wrong use. Miss not is not right, or not using it correctly, right? So we have the big X. Oh, that is not right. And then minimum. Minimum. We're going to find on page 24, and I have a picture of a penny as a hint here. The minimum is the least or the smallest amount possible. So a penny is the smallest coin that we have in our US currency. So let's get right into our reading. And remember, we really want to focus on that text evidence and thinking about some of the key details. So our first heading says, how do credit cards work? Credit cards are another form of payment. People use them to buy clothes, food, movie tickets, and a whole lot more. You have to be 18 to get your own credit card, but you should know how to use them wisely. It is easy to misuse credit cards and end up with a lot of debt. So it's easy to misuse. So we can say, instead of saying misuse, we could say use credit cards incorrectly, or not use them wrongly, right? And you could end up with a lot of debt. Do you guys know what debt is? It's when you owe a lot of money. Okay, so you owe a lot of money. In many ways, credit cards look just like debit cards. They are about the same size and made of plastic. They both have an account number on the front and a magnetic strip on the back. But credit cards and debit cards are not used in the same way. When you buy something with a debit card, the money comes straight out of your checking account. It is like paying with cash. You must have the money in your account before you can make the purchase. Okay, so let's stop and think. What evidence does the author give to support that using a debit card is like using cash? Let's think about that text evidence. Reread. Where are they talking about debit cards? Oh yeah, I see it down here that it says that first off, it says debit cards look like credit cards, but credit cards and debit cards are not used in the same way. When you buy something with the debit card, the money comes straight out of your checking account. It is like paying with cash. And it's like paying with cash because the money comes straight out of your checking account. You have to have the money right then. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And then our little caption here, it says, like cereal or soda, credit cards come in different brands. American Express, Visa, and MasterCard are 3 popular brands. A credit card, however, is not linked to a bank account. A bank gives you a credit card as a way to pay for things using credit, or money that you borrow with the promise of paying it back. Every time you use a credit card, you are paying with the bank's money, not yours. At the end of each month, the bank sends you a statement telling you what you bought and how much you owe. Then you pay the bank back using the money in your checking account. Okay, so how are debit and credit cards similar and different? Let's stop and think. How are they the same? Yeah, well, they look the same. They both have magnetic strips and they both help you buy things, right? But they're different In that debit cards, you have to have the money right then because it's attached to your checking account, so it takes money right out of your bank account. Whereas a credit card, you're borrowing the money and you have to pay it back later. So that's a way that they are different. And then it says, although credit cards and debit cards look alike, they are different. Using a debit card is like paying with cash, and using a credit card is like borrowing money, right? So that even would answer our question perfectly. Credit cards are like borrowing money, and debit cards are like paying with cash. The dangers of using credit cards. Dun, dun, dun! Do you remember how banks make money? They charge a fee or interest on the money that people borrow. The same thing happens with the credit card. On the monthly statement, the bank lists a minimum payment due or the lowest amount you can pay. You can pay this minimum or you can pay more. The bank will charge you interest on whatever you do not pay back, and this interest rate is usually very high. The only way to avoid paying interest is to pay back the whole statement balance each month. So if you don't pay for everything you bought that month at once, then you're going to have to pay even more for it. Each credit card has a limit. It might be $5,000. This means you can charge up to $5,000 on your card. People sometimes have 2 or 3 cards that are maxed out or charged to the limit, and they only pay the minimum each month. This is how people end up having a lot of debt. So they end up owing a lot of money that can be really hard to pay back, guys, because imagine if you owe $5,000 to here and $5,000 here and $5,000 here, that's a lot of money. It says your monthly credit card statement lists important information such as how you have spent and the minimum. So the caption says your monthly credit card statement lists important information such as how much you have spent and the minimum amount you must pay. And remember the minimum, we have that penny because it's the smallest amount that you have to pay. So you can always pay more than that, but they always give you a minimum. Credit card trouble. Seth is a college student who buys a TV and a laptop with his first credit card. His balance is $1,500. At the end of each month, Seth pays the minimum amount due shown on his statement. The bank charges Seth 18% interest on the rest of the balance. Even if Seth does not charge anything else, that means he doesn't buy anything else, it will take him 12 years to pay off his debt. Seth will pay $1,673.25 in interest. That is more than he paid for the TV and the laptop in the first place. Boom! Imagine, guys, if you don't pay more than the minimum, you could end up paying more than what the item was that you actually bought. So Seth would pay $1,500 for the TV and then another $1,600 for fees for borrowing that money to begin with. That's insane. The benefits of using your credit cards. Credit cards are convenient. They are easier to carry around than a lot of cash. In some ways, they are safer than other payment options. If you lose cash, it's gone. Have any of you guys ever lost some money, like some cash? Yeah, that's not fun, right? Because you can't get it back. You got to be lucky. If you lose a check or debit card, someone might be able to get into your account and steal your money. If you lose a credit card, however, you can call the bank and cancel your card so no one can make a purchase with it. And then again, our caption says credit cards make it easy for you to shop online from your home computer, which is true. If you're shopping online, you can't use cash. You have to use a credit card or a debit card. You can use credit cards just about anywhere: restaurants, gas stations, grocery stores, and many other places. You can also use credit cards to buy things on the internet or to reserve a hotel or rent a car. If you make your payments on time and do not max out your card, you can build good credit using a credit card. Having good credit means you can be trusted to pay back what you borrow. If you have good credit, you are more likely to get a loan for something big, such as a house, and you might even get a lower car insurance rate. That's important for when you grow up, guys, because one day when you grow up, you're going to want to be able to buy a house or buy a car, and having good credit, so being honest and trustworthy where people trust you, the banks trust you to pay back what you borrow, is important. And a helpful hint: only use a credit card to buy something if you have enough money in your checking account to pay for it at the end of the month. And then our last caption says, if you do not use credit cards wisely, you will develop bad credit. This means you cannot be trusted to pay back what you borrow. So again, our stop and think question, here we go. What are some of the benefits of credit card use? So it did tell us some benefits. Where can you use them? Almost anywhere, right? So you can use them at restaurants, gas stations, grocery stores. You can use credit cards anywhere. So that makes them convenient. Okay. And you can also, it helps you build your credit so that way you can buy a house maybe, because you can show that you can be trusted to pay back money that you borrow, right? And then also we know that if you lose your card, then it's easy for you to just call the bank and say, hey, I lost the card, and money won't get stolen from you. So that could be a benefit as well. Ooh, what is identity theft? This is another one. Dun, dun, dun type moment. Identity theft happens when someone steals personal information about another individual and then pretends to be that person. People steal information such as bank account numbers and social security numbers. While pretending to be another person, the thief might open bank accounts, make changes on a credit card, or do illegal things using someone else's name. All of these things can give the victim bad credit and make it hard for that person to get a loan. Even babies have had their identities stolen. Can you imagine, guys? Babies. A baby with a credit card, that wouldn't make any sense, but people will do it. Helpful hints. There are many things you can do to protect your identity. Number 1, leave your social security card at home in a safe place. Do not give out this number without checking with your parents first. Number 2, ask your parents to get one free credit report for you each year. This report will show if someone has opened a credit card or a bank account in your name. Number 3, do not open emails from people you do not know. This is super important, guys. Some of these emails are from people that are trying to get personal information that can be used in identity theft. These are called phishing emails because the senders are phishing for information. And number 4, check with your parents before you give out your phone number or address to anyone, whether in person or online. It's always a really good idea to try and keep all of your personal information safe. Don't share it with anyone. And then it says some phishing emails look very official. However, real emails from your bank will not ask for personal information like a social security number. And lastly, let's get back to conclusions. Remember when we started with our learning intentions, I said, if you've forgotten what a conclusion is, I will help you and I'll tell you what that means. So it says authors do not always include every single detail in the text. This means that readers sometimes need to use details in the text in their own knowledge and experiences to draw conclusions about what they read. So basically, conclusions are where we're putting together text evidence with our own knowledge to make a new idea. We can also sometimes call this an inference. Conclusions and inferences are very similar. So for this, we're going to draw some conclusions about the dangers of credit card use, because I can see on this page that it tells me the heading is the dangers of using credit cards, but they don't really make any conclusions about it. They just give a lot of evidence as to why this could be dangerous. So first, I see that they charge a fee or interest on the money that people borrow. Okay, so money is borrowed from the bank. It's not your actual money. That could cause a problem. That could be dangerous for people when they're borrowing money. What if you borrow too much? All right, let's look for some more evidence or key details to see about the dangers of credit cards. Right? What about here? It says you have to pay back an interest rate, which is usually very high. That means that you're paying more than what you actually spent on the item. So the interest rates are high. Say you borrow $20, you end up paying back like $25 for the item instead of just the $20 that it actually cost. Let's see. What else can we find? What about here? The only way to avoid paying interest is to pay the whole statement balance each month. So that means everything that you spent that month, say I spent $250 because on some new shoes, because Miss Wagers, I love me some new shoes. So I go on a shopping spree. Unless I pay all $250 of that by the end of the month, I'm going to end up having to pay more. I'd have to pay maybe like $275 for the shoes instead of only the $250. So to avoid that, I have to be able to pay that by the end of the month. Okay, so you have to pay the balance in order to avoid interest. All right, let's see. What else? Okay, people sometimes have 2 or 3 credit cards that are maxed out. And when we say maxed out, that means they've spent as much as they can and the banks won't let them spend any more. So if you max out your card, that's usually not a good thing to do because the bank shows the bank that maybe they're not having a lot of self-control. because they're spending all the money, right? Or maybe they're really having a hard time financially. So you want to try and avoid that as much as possible, because then also you can't spend anymore. So then the card's no good. It won't let you spend anything. All right, let's see what else we can find, guys. Here we go. Drum roll. Ooh, if you only pay the minimum each month. Ooh. And remember, we heard about those credit card troubles. If you only pay the minimum, you're going to end up paying a lot more money, and you're going to have to pay for a lot longer than you should. So some people only pay the minimum. That's a way that they could be dangerous. And one more reason they could be dangerous, from our credit card trouble, you could end up paying more than what the item actually cost. A lot more. So remember, this guy, he bought a TV, he put it on, and a laptop, put it on his credit card, and then all the interest, the extra fees he had to pay, cost more than the TV and the laptop were to begin with. So you can end up paying more in interest than the item that you actually bought. So that would be a bad deal. That would be dangerous. So I can draw the conclusion that credit cards are potentially dangerous since people can spend money they don't really have. The author doesn't say this exactly, but they give us all of this text evidence to show this. And I know, okay, if I put these all together, that would be really bad. People are spending money that they don't have. They can't pay it back. Okay, so those are conclusions. Remember, when we take text evidence and our background knowledge, we put it together to form a new idea. Let's go back to our learning intentions. Today, we were learning to draw conclusions based on reasons and evidence. That way we could explain the points the author makes. So the author said that credit cards could be dangerous, and that we gave some reasons why, some text evidence to kind of even strengthen that. So we know we are successful when we can use text evidence. We are always looking back in the text and seeing exactly where everything is in the text. Like I had those arrows that literally pointed. So we used the text evidence. Check. Identify important details. So again, we look back in the text to see what parts were important about the use of credit cards. Check. And then draw conclusions. So we put together that text evidence with our background knowledge to form some newer ideas. All right, check. For your reading response, you just need to list 2 details that support the conclusion that credit cards are convenient. Remember, convenient, whoop, that's easy. So what makes credit cards be convenient? 2 details from the text that support my idea that credit cards are convenient. They're kind of easy. I like those. All right. So that is all for our lesson today. You have made it through another one. Yay! I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. Do all of your work, and I will see you guys later. Bye.